Prince Harry in tears after Sarah Ferguson exposed Meghan's yacht days with Andrew. Hold on to your crowns, ladies and gentlemen, because the royal house of cards isn't just shaking in 2026. It is currently face-planting into the mud of the Mediterranean. We've all heard the whispers, we've seen the side eyes, and we've endured the 6-part Netflix documentaries that felt longer than the actual reign of Edward VIII. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could have prepared Prince Harry for the ultimate betrayer-in-chief, Sarah Ferguson, allegedly pulling the pin on a multi-million-dollar truth bomb and tossing it right into his Montecito backyard. Yes, you heard that right. Word on the high society grapevine is that Fergie has finally gone rogue, and she didn't just open the royal vault, she brought receipts. The rumor that has Prince Harry reportedly sobbing into his organic, gluten-free tissue box? The mind-bending claim that long before Meghan Markle was curtsying to the late Queen, she was allegedly operating in the ultra-exclusive, deeply shadowy yachting circle of none other than Prince Andrew himself. Is this the real reason the Christmas dinners at Sandringham have been icy enough to sink the Titanic? Or is Fergie just playing the ultimate desperate game of real estate survival as she faces eviction? Grab your popcorn, smash that subscribe button, and let's dive into the absolute madness because the gilded doors are officially off their hinges, and the royal skeletons are not just walking, they are ready to spill. Now that the fuse has been lit, we have to look at the sheer, unadulterated chaos of how we actually got here, because you cannot make this stuff up. To understand the gravity of why Prince Harry is reportedly pacing his California mansion at 3 in the morning, we have to dissect the players in this absolute circus. For years, the public has been fed a very specific, highly sanitized narrative. We were told that Meghan Markle was just a self-made, independent Hollywood actress who happened to land a real-life prince after a wholesome, completely accidental blind date set up by a mutual friend in the summer of 2016. It was the ultimate modern fairy tale. But let's be honest, even back then the math wasn't quite matching. The mainstream media treated her like she had just dropped out of the sky, completely untouched by the murky waters of high society networking. But the elite social circle in London, Toronto, and New York is not that big, and the gatekeepers of that world are incredibly protective. In the years leading up to her royal debut, Meghan was a prominent figure on the global VIP circuit. She wasn't just staying at budget motels. She was a fixture at the ultra-exclusive Soho House network, a playground where the rich, the famous, and the royal go to disappear behind non-disclosure agreements and heavy velvet curtains. And who else was notoriously using those exact same elite networks to maintain his lavish, post-royal lifestyle after his official diplomatic career began to crumble? None other than the Duke of York himself, Prince Andrew. For over a decade, Andrew's name has been synonymous with the kind of shadowy, high-flying luxury that makes ordinary people squint in suspicion. We are talking about the private jets, the offshore bank accounts, the sprawling mountain chalets, and most notoriously the luxury yacht parties in the Mediterranean. These weren't just casual weekend boat trips with some friends. These were high-stakes, highly curated networking events where the world's most powerful men were introduced to beautiful, ambitious young women under the guise of exclusive European holidays. For years, the internet has speculated about whether Meghan's pre-royal social calendar overlapped with Andrew's infamous circle. But the palace PR machine, which is arguably more powerful than the British military, worked overtime to make sure those two names were never, ever mentioned in the same breath. They built a literal fortress of silence around Meghan's past, dismissing any questions about her high society connections as nothing more than baseless, misogynistic internet gossip. And for a long time the fortress held. The public accepted the blind date story, the wedding went off with billions of people watching, and the history books were written. But fast forward to 2026, and the fortress has not just been breached, it is being dismantled brick by the most unlikely of saboteurs. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, has spent decades playing the role of the loyal, slightly eccentric ex-wife. She stayed in the same house as Andrew even after their divorce. She defended him through his most catastrophic public scandals, and she consistently chose the family's survival over her own personal spotlight. But loyalty in the royal family is a luxury that apparently expires when your housing situation is threatened. As King Charles continues his relentless crusade to slim down the monarchy and cut unnecessary expenses, Andrew and Fergie have found themselves on the literal chopping block. The king has reportedly cut off Andrew's multi-million-dollar security detail, and is actively trying to evict them from their beloved 30-room mansion, Royal Lodge. For Fergie, this isn't just an inconvenience. It is an existential threat. She has expensive tastes, a mountain of historical debt, and suddenly no royal safety net to catch her. And when a woman who knows every single dirty secret of the York household is backed into a corner with nothing left to lose, she becomes the most dangerous person in the United Kingdom. The whispers coming out of London's elite publishing circles suggest that Fergie has decided to trade her silence for a massive, life-altering payday. We are talking about a rumored $20 million nuclear memoir that promises to blow the lid off the last 25 years of royal cover-ups. And according to Deep Throat Palace insiders, the crown jewel of this upcoming book is not a rehashing of Fergie's own foot-kissing scandals from the 90s. No, the real ammunition is what she allegedly witnessed regarding the early connection between Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew. The claim that has reportedly sent shockwaves through Montecito is that Fergie's private diaries from the early 2010s contain specific details of Meghan being introduced to Andrew's social circle long before she ever laid eyes on Harry. It completely shatters the carefully constructed narrative that Meghan was an innocent outsider who didn't even know who the royal family was. If these reports are even half true, it means she was already a known quantity within the York household, and the entire blind date story was nothing but a massive, highly coordinated public relations stunt designed to sanitize her past and present her as a fresh, untainted face to the British public. This brings us to the psychological state of Prince Harry, who is reportedly utterly devastated by these impending revelations. Harry has spent the last 6 years positioning himself as his wife's ultimate protector, the brave knight who rescued her from the clutches of the racist, toxic British press. He has burnt every single bridge with his father, his brother, and his homeland to defend Meghan's honor and protect her from what he claimed was an unfair, targeted smear campaign. But what happens to a man's psyche when he realizes that the very scandals he was fighting so hard to protect his wife from might actually have a paper trail? What if the toxic environment he thought he was rescuing her from was actually an environment she was already deeply familiar with? The rumors of Harry's breakdown are not just about him being angry at Fergie. They are about the crushing weight of a potential betrayal that goes to the very core of his marriage. For years, Harry believed he was the one in control of the narrative, the one writing the script of their grand escape to California. But now, as Fergie prepares to release her memoirs and the details of Andrew's past social life are dragged into the cold light of day, Harry is realizing that he might have been a pawn in a much larger, much darker game than he ever could have imagined. And the timing of this couldn't possibly be worse for the Sussexes. Their media empire has been on life support, their popularity ratings are in the basement, and the public has grown thoroughly exhausted by their constant grievances. To have this kind of explosive, highly damaging controversy rear its ugly head right now is the absolute worst-case scenario. It directly targets the one thing they have left: their brand of authentic, progressive victimhood. If the public starts to believe that Meghan's entry into the royal family was facilitated by the same dark networks that managed Prince Andrew's social life, the Sussex brand is dead in the water. There is no coming back from that kind of association. And as the tension in Montecito reaches a boiling point, the silence from their PR team is absolutely deafening. Usually, the moment a negative rumor surfaces, we get a fiery statement or a high-profile lawsuit filed within hours. But this time, nothing. Just a cold, terrifying silence as the legal team scramble behind the scenes, desperately trying to find a way to stop Fergie from pressing the launch button on what could be the final, devastating chapter of their royal fairy tale. Which leads us directly into the cold, hard evidence that is starting to leak from the most secure investigations in the country. The silence from the Sussex camp is now being filled by the aggressive, terrifying rhythm of police investigative work that has turned the 2026 royal landscape into a total war zone. While the world was busy speculating about memoirs and hearsay, the real cold-blooded danger for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry was unfolding in the quiet corridors of the Thames Valley Police headquarters. Remember that 11-hour arrest we mentioned earlier? That wasn't just a PR stunt. When the authorities hauled Andrew Mountbatten Windsor in for questioning, they didn't just take his statement. They swept his private residences for every shred of digital and physical evidence they could get their hands on. We are talking about encrypted hard drives, private servers located in the Mediterranean, and decades of appointment logs that have been buried in the deep, dark corners of the York estate. And here is where it gets absolutely horrifying for the Sussexes. Reports from deep inside the investigation, which have been leaked to independent analysts, suggest that the police uncovered a series of travel logs that don't just point to vague associations. They reportedly contain specific, documentable data. We are talking about passport details, flight manifests, and hotel registers that place individuals in locations that directly contradict the official timeline we were all fed back in 2018. If the rumors are true and Meghan's name appears on these logs alongside figures who were managing Andrew's social calendar during the early 2000s, then the game has officially changed from a gossip session to a criminal reality. This isn't about grainy, blurry photos that can be dismissed as a look-alike. This is about high-definition digital paper trails that forensic experts are currently scrubbing with terrifying precision. The most disturbing element of these leaked files is the involvement of the elite, invite-only social network known as Soho House. For years, the official narrative was that Meghan was just a regular, working actress who enjoyed a nice club membership in Toronto and London. But insiders who actually know how this world works tell a much darker story. They claim that these clubs were effectively the brokerage houses for the global elite, facilitating the kind of high-stakes social interactions that required a high level of discretion and, more importantly, ironclad non-disclosure agreements. If Meghan was indeed a participant in these circles, it implies a level of strategy, calculation, and connections that the public was never meant to see. And if those private servers contain communication logs between her and the gatekeepers of Andrew's circle, then the entire facade of her being a naive, uninformed American girl who didn't know the first thing about the royals is not just a lie. It is a piece of theater that is about to be burned to the ground. This is exactly why the panic in Montecito is palpable. When you build your entire professional identity on the concept of radical transparency and truth-telling, you cannot afford to have a secret cache of digital documents emerge that proves you were in bed with the very establishment you claim to be exposing. It is a paradox that would break a lesser brand, and it is exactly why Prince Harry's reported mental state is so fragile. He isn't just worried about his wife's reputation, he is worried about his own. He positioned himself as the man who saw the truth and chose love over the institution. But what if he was the victim of the biggest con in modern history? What if he was the last person to find out that his wife had a professional, or at the very least a highly strategic history with his own uncle, a man who is currently the epicenter of the most toxic scandal in the history of the House of Windsor? The public reaction to these revelations has been nothing short of explosive. On social media, the digital detectives are working faster than any palace PR team. We have seen viral videos that use AI-powered biometric tools to analyze the facial structures, unique birthmarks, and even the specific pieces of jewelry worn by the women in those early 2000s Mediterranean yacht images. The findings are sending the internet into a frenzy. Millions of people are now watching side-by-side comparisons that map out every detail, and the consensus is turning against the Sussexes with frightening speed. People aren't just angry that they might have been lied to, they are offended by the sheer arrogance of the cover-up. They feel like they were treated as fools for years, fed a romanticized script, while the reality was hidden behind the gilded doors of the very institution that Harry spent so much time demonizing. And let's not forget about the role of the mainstream media, which is now in a state of absolute chaos. For years, major outlets protected the Sussex brand because it was profitable. They looked the other way when the stories didn't add up, and they buried the leads that might have led to an investigation into Meghan's past. But now, with the weight of the Epstein-related files and the police seizure of Andrew's private documents, they can no longer pretend this isn't happening. The pressure to report on the potential links between the Duchess of Sussex and the Duke of York's social circle is becoming impossible to resist. The dam is breaking, and the floodwaters are coming for everyone who was involved in creating, maintaining, or protecting this narrative. Even the most loyal supporters of the Sussexes are finding it harder and harder to defend them. How do you defend a history that you don't even know the truth about? How do you argue against forensic, data-driven evidence that suggests your hero might have been playing a much colder, much more calculated game than you were led to believe? The answer is you can't. You just watch, wait, and wonder what the next leak will contain. And the next leak is coming because there is no way to stop a dossier of this size from finding its way into the hands of the press. We are at a moment where the secrets are not just being hinted at, they are being prepared for public consumption. And as the tension builds with the world watching every move in Montecito, the question remains, What does the royal family actually know, and how long have they been holding this information as a weapon to ensure their own survival? Which leads us to the final chilling act of this entire saga. The cold hard truth about what the royal family knew, and when they knew it, is the ultimate wild card that could completely destroy what's left of the House of Windsor in 2026. Because let's be real for a second, the British intelligence services don't miss a beat. They don't just casually browse through Instagram to see who is dating whom. If the rumors currently circulating through London's elite political clubs are to be believed, the late Queen Elizabeth II was handed a highly confidential, deeply sensitive dossier by MI5 just weeks before the royal wedding at St. George's Chapel in May 2018. In the inner circles, this document is referred to as the infamous Black File. It reportedly contained the exact same Mediterranean travel logs, private server communications, and Soho House networking records that Sarah Ferguson is now allegedly threatening to release to the highest bidder. If this file existed, it means the Queen was faced with an absolutely impossible, terrifying chess move. Imagine being the monarch and realizing that your beloved grandson is about to marry a woman who might have deep, undocumented ties to your most problematic son's controversial social circle. If she canceled the wedding, she would have faced a global public relations catastrophe of historic proportions, with accusations of racism, elitism, and cruelty being hurled at the palace from every corner of the earth. But if she allowed it to proceed, she was effectively planting a ticking time bomb right at the center of the monarchy, praying that the non-disclosure agreements and the palace PR machine would keep the lid on the scandal forever. According to palace insiders, she chose the latter, but she made sure that Harry was kept in a highly sanitized, carefully curated bubble. They told him about the security risks, yes, but they reportedly withheld the raw, unedited details of Meghan's alleged past with Andrew's network to protect his fragile mental state. This would explain why Harry has been acting like a man possessed since 2018. His fierce, almost irrational protectiveness over Meghan wasn't just about the British tabloids writing mean articles about her avocado toast. He was fighting a shadow, a ghost that he could feel but couldn't fully see. He knew there was a massive coordinated effort within the palace to keep something buried, but because he was kept in the dark about the full contents of the Black File, he assumed the palace was simply trying to destroy his wife out of pure malice. But now, in 2026, as the Thames Valley Police forensic teams catalog the contents of Andrew's seized hard drives, and as Sarah Ferguson prepares her $20 million literary revenge, the sanitized version of history is completely falling apart. Harry is reportedly realizing that the people he thought were his enemies might have actually been trying to manage a catastrophic security and reputational risk that he was completely blind to. And the fallout of this realization is currently tearing the Sussex marriage apart at the seams. Sources in Montecito claim that the atmosphere inside their mansion is one of total frozen panic. The couple is reportedly living in separate wings of the house, communicating mostly through their high-priced legal teams, as they try to figure out how to survive the impending media storm. The us against the world narrative that they sold to the public in their Harry and Meghan documentary has evaporated. If Meghan's passport details and private communications are officially linked to Andrew's yachting circle in a police dossier, Harry's entire credibility is shot. He will go from being the brave, rebellious prince who rescued his wife to the most gullible, easily manipulated man on the planet. The psychological humiliation of that transition is something a royal prince, especially one with Harry's immense pride, might never recover from. Meanwhile, Prince William is reportedly watching this unfold with a sense of cold, detached resolve. To William, the survival of the crown is the only thing that matters. He has reportedly told his advisors that there will be absolutely no lifelines thrown to either Prince Andrew or the Sussexes. If they drown in the swamp of their own making, so be it. The palace has already begun strategically leaking information to prime the public for a complete, permanent separation. They want the world to know that the modern monarchy under King Charles and eventually King William has absolutely nothing to do with the dark, shady networks of the early 2000s. They are cutting the anchor to save the ship, even if that anchor includes the king's own brother and his youngest son. But the most tragic figures in this entire multi-million-dollar circus aren't the adults fighting for their reputations or their real estate. It's the children. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie have spent their entire adult lives trying to distance themselves from their father's horrific scandals, only to have their own mother drag them right back into the mud with her nuclear memoirs. And over in California, Archie and Lilibet are growing up in a digital world where their mother's name is becoming permanently associated with the darkest corners of high society gossip. How do you explain to your children, when they are old enough to use a search engine, that the fairy tale they were told about their parents' love story was actually preceded by a history of NDAs, private yacht parties, and a police investigation into the king's brother? The generational trauma of the House of Windsor is being written in real time, and it is being played out on a global stage for the entertainment of millions. As we watch the countdown to the holiday season of 2026, the royal brand is facing an absolute existential crisis. The British public is exhausted, the taxpayers are furious about funding security for royals who do nothing but generate scandals, and the romantic illusion of the monarchy is officially dead. Sarah Ferguson's decision to play the ultimate game of blackmail has forced everyone's hand. Whether her claims are 100% literal truth or a highly calculated, exaggerated attack designed to force King Charles to let her keep her 30-room mansion, the damage is already done. The public's perception of Meghan Markle has been permanently shifted from a global progressive icon to a woman with a deeply complicated